Okay, whose is this?
It's Dave.
Dave,
Right.
what did you do, Dave?
After I figured out a way to get it in the system so I can edit it, from an email, I took it and I put it in, Nick Collection 6, DXO Nick Collection, and that's in, Color Effects 6, and then I, use the, they have different filters that you can use, and I use the, I used a couple of the filters on it to, kind of change the look of the image. That's kind of what I did to that.
That's nice. Okay. We knew somebody was gonna do this. Frank is not here. He just, yes.
Whose is that?
Frank
Ricardo?
Ricardo,
That's so funny.
and you can guess what he did. He just took some old King Kong stuff and dropped it in there. Okay, that's nice.
Good job, Frank. Oh, this is that.
Bruce?
Yeah, that's sort of what's like. I don't know whose original printed one, but really terrible. And so I kind of said, okay, I want to do this legitimately. No nudes, no scenes, and so I thought, okay, this is going to be, late in the afternoon. And then, but some of it was just blown out with the whites and so forth, so I kind of worked those down. Of course, I replaced the sky. And then had to individually sort of pick out places to burn and dodge to bring the colors up, like the garage doors or whatever it is on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
I had to bring those way down. And then up the center of the street, of course, that was kind of burned out. And then you come back and sort of play with different places in it. And then I looked at it, I said, that is a typical picture. So I just said, well, that's it.
Okay.
Completely out of character.
That's mine.
Nancy, you always do.
I agree with Bruce with unstimulated.
That was the challenge.
Yeah, I just kind of loved the ICM and then accentuated the colors and
It's neat. Okay, this is mine, and I think I was reading that day about climate change. So I adjusted the photograph to reflect a much hotter and weirder world. And that's what I came up with.
It makes me think like this is what happens after they set up a nuclear bomb or something.
Yeah,
looks like snow.
not pleasant,
Angry snow.
angry, yeah.
This one is mine. Couldn't do much with the color, so I decided, well, it's October, turn it into Halloween theme.
It's the season.
That's
So
good.
I did a little, layering, masking, and that's what I ended up with.
Good. Okay.
This is incredible.
You got any more?
That's all of those. I've got some that were sent to me.
Okay, why don't we look at those? As I said, these are not inspiring photographs to work with. These are purposely lousy. So you want to see what you can do with it.
Maybe I guess the only one I've got is MJ.
Okay. Okay,
It's fine, I call it family fun.
Very good. Wow.
that's fun.
It's neat.
Well, it shows our brains go in different directions.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, that's it for that challenge. And as I said, if you have something that you,
I have one before you. Did I get the thumb drive I gave you?
Which one is yours?
Yeah, but I'll do it a photo share, right, because it's in my thumb drive.
okay.
This was a really interesting process. I had decided that I wanted to convert the JPEG into a RAW file. So in Photoshop, you have an option, Photoshop RAW. So, I did the save as, and I chose Photoshop RAW. And this is what I got.
You
And I looked at it and I said, I don't want to touch it. That is so cool.
that's what, it just showed up.
That's what showed up.
That's
That's bizarre.
that is bizarre.
And I haven't tried it on any others. because I don't know.
I like the shot.
Yeah.
Nice photograph.
That's so cool.
So where did you convert it? Is it under edit or something, or?
Well, when you do, file as, or save as,
See,
you have all these different choices and formats.
Yeah.
And one of them is Photoshop RAW. I chose that. It just probably totally corrupted the file.
Can you imagine how long it would take you to do something?
is that all we got for
I have one on the red.
Leo's got? I'll try, okay.
That's something else.
Yeah, try it.
Yes, you got me curious now.
I opened the JPEG in Photoshop RAW, and it's never done anything like that.
I think it just totally corrupted the file, so now.
I like it.
Oh, it was so cool,
Yeah, this is a clever ad.
He's
I've worked
Leo.
on these over the course of the past month. So for me to remember what I did this morning is a stretch. Obviously made it black and white and used a bunch of filters and cropped it. Beyond that, I don't know what I did. I don't remember.
but you worked a lot harder than Ed did, right?
I don't know. There's another one on there that I did one.
Yeah, and anybody that ever did any darkroom work, it looks like something you would have done with solarization.
That might have been part of it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then,
That's interesting.
again, just playing with different filters and layers and.
Next time,
Rework it over.
write it down as you're going through. Next time, write it down so we can copy you.
It would be nice if I remember to do that too. You get to working and then you forget what you're doing.
So you have one more?
Yeah, I got another one.
Okay.
It's in the photo share folder.
Yes. Will be it. It's at the bottom, I think, all the way at the bottom. Peter's rework, yeah, it's go to the suit, Libby Hill, right above that.
That's,
That one, yeah. I found a similar picture to Peter's, only his is much better. And then the next picture was his image, and I combined them both.
Okay,
And then I eventually got the third shot. That's Peter's, and that's what I did. I blended it, I mixed mine, I made it a hard mix. And I just kept the orange in there and just saturated it. And it gave me the opportunity to actually play with that Photoshop beta, you know, the AI. To try to replace the sky, and it's not as easy. You know, as Ed's, but. But that's, you know, and I was able to, you know, combine them and have some shadows, but I stopped to play with it and play on AI.
Does anybody, who uses Photoshop beta?
Trying to.
Well, Photoshop beta has been
It's now
replaced
right in the.
by the release.
But it has,
Yes, it has.
excuse me,
It has.
then why do I keep getting refresh on it and it's there and it's come back?
Well,
Yeah,
you should download Photoshop 25, version 25.
Yes, and that has a bunch of what was in the original post beta. But photo beta is still.
Separate, isn't it?
It's a separate, yes, it's a separate program. Yes, it still works, but it's not being supported
Yes,
anymore.
it is. I got an update on it yesterday.
I'll fire out.
Okay.
Again, I'm moving.
stay right there.
And what they're doing is that, yes, the Photoshop 2024 has took a lot of what was in the beta version.
Yeah.
Up until. When did they do it? A couple of months ago. Yeah.
We go all the way all.
Yeah, after that, that's what they pushed everybody to use. But Photoshop beta is still there, and they're still experimenting with things.
Okay.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I haven't used Photoshop 2024. Since they lowered it down to me, I looked at it and said, okay, why am I doing this? When I've got the beta and everything. I'm just curious because I use that every day. And
The beta.
the beta, yeah, and it's it's just amazing. Bunch of stuff. It's in like,
Yeah.
I think I believe
Okay, this is our program.
Just wanted to say something really quick. I wanted to remind everyone that there will not be a November newsletter because I will
Yes.
not be in town to produce it. However, all of these images that we just looked at, plus the images that we're going to see with PhotoShare, I would really like to include them in the December newsletter. So if you all could remember to send me your images after you get home, I really would appreciate it because there were some, well, they were all terrific. And I love sharing that kind of thing in the newsletter.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the reminder. This is my take on storytelling through photography. And it's a personal opinion. Some of you will probably disagree or have other comments and suggestions. But why don't we run through it? Okay. We've been using pictures to tell stories for a long time. African rock art goes back 30,000 years. Next. But storytelling through photography is much newer, but it has the same goal of a vocal response of some kind in the viewer. This is, I think it tells in one image the story, 1858. She's fading away. Father's looking out the window in despair. Mother and presumably sister or nurse. And that is to me, one of the earliest one picture stories. 1858. And with photography, you might be able to tell a story with a single shot. This is mine. It was a few years ago. Remember when they were having all of the fuss about the Lee statue, which had been painted and sprayed and so forth. And to me, that white mother with her small child looking at all of the graffiti and the Black Lives Matter, to me, that tells the story of what that weekend was all about in just one shot. Emotion, education, change. Okay. Or each image might be part of a series, acting as a chapter in a story. This is the Pearl Harbor commemoration at the Virginia War Memorial. Starts with the tolling of the bell. Go ahead. March of the Colors, the trumpeter to play taps, the bell, the memories, the stones marking battles fought in the past, Fort Chop Hill and others. And no matter what the story, we all need to remember that each viewer will interpret it differently. They will interpret it as depending on their own personalities and memories and experiences. So don't be alarmed if you think you've got a great picture and somebody doesn't get it. It's really their interpretation of what you're trying to do. This one is obviously a veteran. If you know the War Memorial, know the glass wall has the names of all of Virginia soldiers and sailors who died. And he was looking for the names of some friends. My interest in stories go to my days as a reporter at the Minneapolis Star. I was a reporter, not a photographer. And if you can take yourself back into the 1970s, those two things at the bottom were known as typewriters. That was the copy desk. That's where all of the stories that we wrote flowed through there for editing, headline writing, and so forth. The guy in the middle was the chief copy guy. His name was Blaine King. And Blaine thought he was God's gift to women. And every young female reporter who came through would sooner or later get a proposition from Blaine. He was also one of the smartest guys because, you know, chief copy editor at a big newspaper. And at that time, it was a big newspaper. But that's what it looked like. In the background, in that little room in the back, that's where the teletype machines were from all over the world, UPI, AP, Reuters, and something. And they just clicked. You could hear them all day. And every once in a while, the bells would go off. And you knew all hell was breaking loose somewhere or other. And so everybody would flush in and see, okay, what's going on. But that was fun. But it's a young person's game. Blaine and all those other copy editors had two things in their drawers. One was a bottle of whiskey, and two was a gallon of Malox. Because they were under such intense pressure. This was an afternoon newspaper, and you can imagine they have to put together a paper in 5 hours in the morning, and it was just very intense. Anyway, that's where I got interested in telling stories. The newspaper, they had their own crew of photographers, of course, and one had actually won a Pulitzer Prize. So they were good. So my visual storytelling was done outside the office. This is the cold beauty of a winter lake. And if you've ever been in Minnesota in the winter, you know how cold it really can be. But I thought that's nice. The father pulling his child on the sled as the sun goes down.
That's one of your shots, Peter?
Yeah,
You,
okay.
Great shot.
I think there are two kinds of visual storytelling. One, thematic. Which pulls together all your images based on a topic. They can be from all over the world, they can be from different times, they can be from different spaces, but they all captured in different moments in time. This is, I've loved for many years to take pictures of country churches. I like the simplicity of country churches. I just think that one is, it invites me to go with. Okay. Again, the simplicity of a country church. Now, this is the caretaker. He happened to be there when I was there. He let me in. We spent time looking around, but that church was tiny and but warm and inviting, and it was in the middle of nowhere. But I just thought that was a great shot. This is another thematic thing. This is from this weekend, where at least Bruce and I know were there at the Jackson Ward Festival. The joy of dancing in the streets. I love the woman in the left. She was almost in a trance, just shuffling around like this, having a great time. Go ahead. And it was, some of the stunts they were doing were unbelievable. As the guy on the right, he had a can of what I thought was some kind of alcohol. So he was listening to a band, and I have no idea how he was able to do this. He kept doing this circling. His legs would come down, his legs would kick up. Did you see him?
Yeah, but I saw the woman on the left.
Yeah, the woman on the left, she was having a great time.
She was.
So that's a story on a theme. You know, I could have taken many more shots of people dancing and enjoying music in the streets. But a narrative photo essay tells a story of a place or an event or a person. They have beginnings, middles, and ends. They don't have to be long. This short story is 4 pictures. That's it. The artist starting on her pad, the artist doing the bridge, the artist coloring in, and the final image. That's the story of this one person. Whatever your story, you need to be prepared, and that means doing some research. At the festival on Saturday, I went not really thinking about doing anything, but when the first couple of shots I got of people dancing, I said, there's the story. So I went purposely from then on, could I get more shots of people just having a great time dancing in the street? So the story just sort of came. Some of your research is last minute. If you don't know the photographer's ephemeris, that's a site that will tell you what the weather, sun, moon are at one time in one place. Okay. The bulk of your preparation, though, should be more long range. This will help you plan your shots. That's where the magic of the internet comes in. There isn't anything you can't research now. You can see photographs other people have taken. You can see what's going on. You can plan your shoot and see what kind of story you might be interested in telling. Okay. Let's say you're going to India. What story of India do you want to tell? Because there's lots of different stories. Do you want to show the colorful kaleidoscope of costumes and people?
If you ever watched, say, an Indian show on Netflix or something or other, you'll see. Incredible, clip. just can't go wrong with it. On the other hand, next. On the other hand, India is also a place of sorrow and poverty. Two little kids picking trash. Now, obviously, you could do both. You tell them both stories and compare them fast. Or you can build your story around poverty and hardships of India, or any country for that matter. You can do something about the slums of Richmond. Okay. Your plan can be simple or complex. In one visit to your opinion, one of my plans was simple. I simply wanted to capture an array of street performers because I knew York is a great tourist town, full of street performers, and I just wanted to do that. The guy on the left was dancing around in his outfit and his crystal ball, pretending he was telling you, he could tell your future. The guy in the middle, he was one of my favorites. He sat there hour after hour playing Bo Diddley stuff. The guy on the right is one of those mimes. He sat on that bicycle hour after hour, motionless. And you were supposed to try to distract him or throw money into his bucket. I have no idea how he did it, but that's how he made a living. Okay. Another plan was more complicated, to capture life in the day of the York Minster. If you've ever seen one of the great English cathedrals, they are out of this world. But this meant spending time on the Minster website to determine everything from their hours to the rules on photography. Not every English cathedral welcomes photographers. Durham Cathedral, for example, I was told quite clearly, do not take pictures of the people worshiping. If this is a church, they are worshiping. Do not interrupt them. Okay. So this is just, you're walking down one of these narrow little streets in York with the shops, and then all of a sudden you turn a corner and then looming over you is this incredible centuries old cathedral. You go in and that's the main entry. Okay. Tourists everywhere, they make a bunch of money off the tourists because it cost, I think at one time it was, what was the figure? $6 million a day, that's going from the people. And you can imagine the restoration work that has to be done constantly on these old cathedrals. So it was, and if you look at their website now, it's called York Minster Enterprises. It's a big business. But it's also, as you can see there, the local church. For some people. This old fellow was there every day, you saw him, and he would talk to one of the priests. And so for him, it was not this gigantic full things cathedral, it was his local church. Okay. And that's entering the choir for evensong. One of the highlights of any English cathedral is at 5 o'clock when they have the evensong service. And you flock in and sit in these seats that have been occupied for 7, 8, 10 centuries by other people. And it's a great service. Those fellows on the left, they're part of the choir. We have obviously the children's choir. Everybody loves the English cathedral children's choirs, but they're often supplemented by people with grown-up voices. And these are the grown-up voices. And of course, on either side, there are the small chapels
where you can just sit and cogitate, pray, meditate. Okay? And throughout, there are carvings, displays, replicas of ancient kings and queens. The ceilings, you know, always look up because sometimes it's just fantastic. Okay? And then when the sun starts to go down, you know, I just like that because of the one person with the pink. But anyway, that's one attempt at a one day in the life of a cathedral. And I think to do it justice, I would probably have to have many more shots. But that's just a quick and dirty version. You're nodding your head. You done cathedral?
I haven't, but I've been to Yorkminster. It's just amazing.
It's amazing, is that? And don't forget people. With almost every story, people are a must, and body language can be an important part of your story. The little child on the left is the child of a niece at a wedding, looking very suspiciously at the photographer. And the one on the right is the child of one of the choir members in the church, who just obviously is showing an opinion of church service. Okay. And one question I get is, do you ask people to take the pictures? My answer is generally no. But I always want to go candid. Stage shots are just, they look what they are, staged. If you think you need to ask somebody afterwards, okay. And certainly if you're taking pictures that involve children, you need to be aware of getting permission. But I think the candid shots, these are from a series on life along the James River. Saxophone guy, he was just standing on a pier, laying away. Fisherman, and the artist. She was on a rainy day and she was painting all along the James River. Again, you know, there could be many more stories than just those. Okay. And while you're at the scene, focus on the small details. This is the Festival of India, where if you go, you know, it's going to be impossible to try to get an overall shot that captures what's going on there. But the shoes, the fabrics, the little girl dressed, the guy doing his calculating as he's selling things. Okay. And learn how to edit on the run. We usually think about post-processing when we talk about editing, but editing also means choosing the best images while you're on the scene. This is Ely Cathedral. And the one on the left, it's a nice shot. I like it. Shows the height of the building, but it doesn't give you any real sense of the size. The one on the right, showing the people, gives much more of a sense of what's going on and how big it is. Okay. And follow your path. Follow your path, follow your passion. It takes time to research, conceptualize, shoot, and edit it. And that's why you should follow your passion. One of mine is churches. I like to take pictures of churches. The one on the left, that's the cathedral downtown. The one on the right is a tiny country church up a dirt path somewhere in central Virginia. And it's like the shot. Okay. A few story ideas. If you're looking for story ideas, they're all over the place. Protests. Great way to practice on a moving crowd, try to capture the essence of the atmosphere anytime there's going to be a protest. Or a festival, like number 3. There are constantly countless local festivals going on. You can tell all kinds of stories. Fundraisers, farmers markets, dances, etc. Transformation. Change can be slow, such as a woman going through pregnancy. That's a 9-point project. Or a building being torn down and rebuilt. Do a time lapse on change, and that's the change in that area. Or think of all the jobs you have no idea about. Think of all the things people do. And follow someone and photograph as you go. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. All of this is be careful, of course. Anyway, that's it. But I have a couple of examples to show. Music. Yep. This is a theme story. Theme doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end. It's just a collection of shots of people making music. That's the simple theme. Run through it, Kim. Street musician. And if you've been anywhere in Richmond, you've seen these guys. They're everywhere. Civil War Museum. This is again in front of the York Minster. This guy rolled his piano up every morning and sat there playing all day. You can see the tip box on the top of his piano. That's how he made his living. Obviously, a COVID choir. Jackson Ward dancing. Always like that. It's all you need is fingers on the drum. And again, when you're in any city, will have its street people, street performers. This is in London that she's again trying to collect money in her 5N case. I love that guy. He just was having so much fun. And he would talk to you, and then he'd strum that guitar and belt up something from both of it was just. And he had this enormous amplifier, speaker. I mean, the guy just wasn't there with his guitar, he was there with his guitar. But I have no idea what he did every night with it.
This next one.
Yep. This is a different kind of story. This is a narrative story where a bunch of us from my church went on a pilgrimage to Montgomery and Selma a few years ago. Journey begins at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. There were about 35 of us out on this bus for a day and a half ride to Montgomery. Finally, Alabama. You got a friend in Jesus, Alabama. The Legacy Museum from enslavement to mass incarceration, located in the former warehouse in the city, where hundreds of slaves were kept waiting to be auctioned off. Prisoners Notice they're all. They're all. This is another examples of some of the signs that were prevalent in Alabama for many, many years. No Negro or I mean, that again, that's a photograph that in one way to tell the story all by itself of what the legacy of slavery was in Alabama. And I couldn't believe the fact that they would announce in the newspaper when the lynching was going to be. Lowercase n on Negro alleged to have assaulted. Well, you know how many alleged assaultings there were in the South on white women.
Well, do you know what year that was?
It was the 1930s, I think. And they had there was one display in one place where you could listen to this incarcerated prisoner. You could talk to her on the phone. Listen to her talking and listen to what she had gone through. The legacy of racism, of course, is still very. Each jar contains soil from a lynching. Dozens of these jars, the names, and the place where somebody, an African American, was lynched. Rather a powerful display. The National Memorial for Peace and Justice is just a few blocks away. A space with around 800 suspended steel columns shaped like a coffin. Each of them has the name of the county where lynchings took place and the names of the victims engraved. It's just a few minutes walk from the first museum. There was a series, there was statue, this one on a rainy day, obviously surrendering to the authorities. And that's it. And that's family members showing you how they were chained together. The woman in the center holding the baby is reaching for her husband, who is probably going to be separated from her somewhere else. Okay. That's what they endured. Shouts. Each coffin names the county where the lynching took place. When you enter that museum, you walk in, and then it slopes down. And as you walk down, these hundreds of steel coffins are broken. All of them announcing the lynching. And it's really just astonishing. Speaks for itself. I think that's it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's my take on the narrative story, telling a story of what a visit to this, what to a white northerner was an overwhelming experience. Anyway, that's my take on the story. And anybody who has ideas, suggestions, or their own interpretations, let me know. I'm interested to see what other people think.
picture have to tell a story? Why can't it just be pretty picture?
Oh, it doesn't have to tell a story.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you want to tell a story, there's different ways. I mean, you can get a big picture, but, I tend to think, or I try to think in terms of story. Like, if Bruce and I were at the festival over the weekend. I went back on Sunday, by the way. And, how would you tell the story of what were thousands of people celebrating Jackson 1? You know, how would you, not just a matter of pretty pictures of the empty cars, but what else was going on? And it really, and sometimes your subject just leaks out at you when you go to some place like Montgomery and Selma. I didn't show you the stuff about Selma. You cross the Pettus Bridge. Yes. Oh my God. You're there. Yeah. And you just, but then again, that Martin Luther King's church, is so the story is, how can you not tell the story?
So Peter, when you were at the, when you were a photojournalist, when you were working, did your editor say you only have this, give me 3 shots and write a story about it, or somebody else go with you, direct the story, you get 3 shots because of the spacing limitations? How did that?
It might depend. Might depend on the power of the story. You know, if you are, well, if you look at the Times Dispatches, we had 10 or 12 photographs from the festival from Jackson, just trying to tell a story through the photography. But yeah, generally you get a chance at one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
My favorite one photograph story is when Rockefeller, many years ago, Nelson Rockefeller was running for president. And he was at the time governor of New York. And he was visiting the city where I was working. And he was on DS, and he was being heckled by students. They were bullying him and heckling him. And somehow he just lost his cool. He gripped the podium and then went. And got it instant from the side of Rockefeller with nasty look on his face, giving the thing to the crowd. I mean, that photograph right across the country, as you can imagine. I mean, that one shot carried the story of this absolutely angry politician trying to deal with protest. He didn't need anyone for that. And the guy who won the Pulitzer Prize at the Star, there was a shot of a traffic accident where a little boy was killed. He had ridden his bike into the path of a car. And the shot, there was the body in the foreground covered with it's the mother over here being pursued. Policeman here talking to a cop. I mean, he's talking to the driver of the car, trying to get information. With one shot, captured everything you need to know about that accident, pain, the woman going through this. I mean, and he was just there by chance. He just heard the phone call on the radio, on the car radio. That was always monitored. We always monitored the cops. And he went to the scene, didn't think much of it, took 3 shots. That's it. Got back to the newsroom. This is in the days of film, developed this film. The editors went nuts. This is it. This is it. You picture the paper, here it's right. So sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's just seeing the story. I don't know if he even saw the story because he was probably over 5 or 6 photographers. He was part of the business, but we got the picture.
He got the balls.
He got there at the right place at the right time, which is a lot of what it is.
I think the most amazing collection of one-shot stories I've seen is when the news museum in
Yeah.
Washington.
Oh,
That was.
And they had, the Pulitzer,
Yeah.
and you just went there and, just like, oh my God,
That's what the pillars of judges are looking for, a story in one shot. You don't get a bunch of shots. You get one shot.
Is that still there or did they?
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, it's not there, but that was, we saw some incredible.
Yeah.
If you wanna, just get a book of Pulitzer Prize winning photographs over the years, and you can see why judges thought that was it. It summed everything up in one photograph. And then many times. Look, like how many times are you gonna be in a political event and have a presidential candidate give points? And you're gonna get capture, you're gonna get.
And it's being in the right place at the right time and the wrong place at the wrong time.
And
Like the shot in Vietnam where.
Assassination.
You know, the shot in the head. I mean,
like a shot in the head, right?
you know, he was just there.
That's right.
Yeah, and he just, you know, he wasn't looking for the story. He could never
But-
predicted the story, but he knew something innately, I'm sure, that through his experience, he said, something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm going to stand here with my camera ready.
And that's the word, to be ready. You know, you can't have your lens cap on. You can't watch one over your head. If you're in a place where you think something's gonna go, you're gonna get a good. You gotta be ready. Camera's gonna be turned on. You can't just fumble around trying
I've
to.
never shot any Pulitzer, you know, qualifying photos, but the same thing in street photography.
Same thing, you gotta be ready.
You just gotta be ready. You gotta have it ready to take the picture.
Gotta be ready.
And then you take the shot. And it may not hang in the loop next to the Mona Lisa,
But you got something that makes you feel pretty good. Any other comments? Okay. Guess we're ready for photo share.
Okay.
I think that shot in Vietnam was a still from a actual movie, because I saw the short movie clip of that event. I think it was in Ken Burns, Vietnam. They showed the video of it.
But you gotta.
And the video, oh,
You still, it's always. Be ready.
yeah.
I think one of the comments that was earlier on there, is that we forget, is that learning what it is that you want to take a picture of, but an image of. I go back years with the black and white, we had you know, a picture. And before I shot that, I had to go and have that image of what I wanted. Well, I maybe I told this before, but I lived in Italy for a couple of years and had a friend who was an engineer. He'd actually designed the doors for the DeLorean. And you know, that didn't read anything, but he was smart and he was a photographer. And so we kind of teamed up every once in a while as a hobby. And I remember very early on meeting him and saying, okay, hey, there's a group going out to wherever. You want to go along? And you know, he said, sure. So I'm there, you know, get there and I'm lugging cameras and tripods and all that sort of stuff, not knowing where I was or anything like it. And he's walking next to me with a little brownie snapshot. And what he, you know, I looked at him and said, what are you doing? He said, I want to, if I see something on mic, I take a snapshot of it. Go home, think about it, and then get his vision. He goes out and takes that picture. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. And I have a good friend who goes off on a safari somewhere in his back with 12,000 shots. Yeah. You know, I mean, I literally. And I'm saying, I don't know.
I think that's one of the problems, which is just, bang, 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 it's just shots, it's not figure out, you haven't got 36 exposures to work with. Only 36.
One of the great things, one of the bad things.
Yeah, then I graduated from high school with Guam. And that's where I kind of taught myself photography, but if I shot color, you know, Kodachrome or something like that, it had to go back to the States to get developed. So I'd shoot the picture and it'd be a good month or so before I'd see it, okay? And I did go to black and white after that. But still, you gotta have a the vision, what it is you're looking for when you're there. You may have never been there before. But the other side of it is you look at it, take it all in and sit down and think about it.
Yeah.
Sit down and think about it now. That's interesting over there. I can see a vision, you know, that's interesting over there. I can see a vision. And then go do it. And to go in there, I know we're on tours and all that sort of stuff, and there's people everywhere and you gotta, but yeah. I gotta take my wife on some of the shoots.
All right. Oh, this is mine.
Very sense.
I was lucky enough to catch him just as he was taking off down on the James. This was an early morning shot. The dew is on the grass. And this guy was doing sprints, up and down, up and down. Those are his footprints in the dew. And I just got that was there. Very cool. And you know where that is. It's gotta be at a plant store somewhere.
Reminded you of which.
That was just something I played with a little bit and made it look more like a watercolor. All color. I think that's probably the ironic. And that was, Nancy, you remember a few years ago when color at Neymar was actually colorful?
Yes, yes,
We haven't seen it since,
no.
but there was a year, I don't
This
know,
one in Mason Street.
4 or 5 years ago,
It
when
was spectacular.
the color was just unbelievable.
If Tom and I were just talking about May one full color.
But it was like that.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of full color this year anywhere.
Not yet. Not yet.
I did.
There's some in the mountains.
Oh, this is me. This was Great Shiplock Park, leaves. These little blue weeds. Turns out they're invasive, not good to have around. I think they're pretty. Monarch on the Chilkai weed. That's nice. Where do you used to get that? Up with this. Okay. Now, right. The canal at Great Shiplock Park. Just starting to get a little color, yeah. Goldenrod. I don't know what this is. Hudsu beans. I didn't know they get beans. Yeah, I know, another invasive, but the beans look pretty neat. Oh. Leaves. More leaves, too many leaves. Oh, mushroom forest. Oakweed. Always very colorful. Another one that I don't know what they are. I'm not a plant guy, and I think that's called ironweed. That's a native. That's good.
Yeah, it's colorful, that blue background.
Yeah, it kind of came out that way. I didn't really play with it.
Those are great.
Oh, thank you.
There's a lake in my neighborhood and, every now and then a blue heron shows up. This one, he was really close to the edge. I was basically standing on a sidewalk, just looking down the hill at it. And it was fall, and I kind of angled it in order to get the color behind them. So that was a lucky shot. This is Lower White Oak Canyon in Shenandoah. And that's an easy place to get to because it's a very gentle rise up to the falls. If you go into Shenandoah, you have to hike very steeply down. But here you go into Syria, Virginia, and you enter from the outer edge of the park and you walk up, and it's a really nice place if you get fall color. That's a good place to go.
When was that taken?
Hmm?
When was that taken? It's not recent, is it? I mean, this year?
That was year before last.
Okay,
That was,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, I didn't think there was any color like that yet here. in
No, not
Virginia.
yet, not yet. And then a couple of weeks ago, we had that great storm come through, Ophelia. But I thought, I'll go out to Shenandoah and photograph waterfalls. That'd be really flowing. And this is Jones Run Falls, and it's basically a trickle. They just didn't get the rain out there. I really thought that there was going to be a lot of water flow. So the next week I went up to Pennsylvania. This was really a week ago today. There's a state park in central Pennsylvania called Ricketts Glen State Park. Two streams come together, and between them, there's 21 named waterfalls. 21. Yeah, 21 named waterfalls. And the first stream is about 1.4 miles long. The second one is 1.2 miles long. So in a very short place, you've got a lot of really nice waterfalls. This was one of them. This was another one. And here's a third one. So yeah, there was a lot of really nice waterfalls, and there's some mushrooms along the way. It was, it was a very moist environment, very wet. And this is just some of the flowing water. There were a lot of colored leaves down, but most of the trees weren't yet really showing the fall color. But probably another couple of weeks they should be. This was last week out at Louis Ginter. I went out there, I think it was Thursday morning, and it was really foggy. So there were a lot of dewdrops on everything. This was from a rose with the dewdrops on it. And then this is the rose itself.
Did you take these with a macro lens?
Yeah, the last two were with a macro lens and focus stack while I was there. Thank you.
At mine, I was at Strangers last week, and the flowers there were spectacular that day. So just a picture of flowers at the nursery.
What processing did you use, Nancy, or did you?
I'm sorry.
What program did you use to diffuse it, or did you?
Most of it was in camera. A little extra in Topaz, but most of that was in camera. I mean, actually sharpened the flower a little bit. Yeah. That's a multi-exposure the same day. Went with Anita a week or so ago to a place called Trash and Cash or something like that, junk store, and they let us take pictures. That was actually, and I converted it to black and white and got rid of some to make the composition better. Went to Tucker Creek recently, and the sky was spectacular that day. So I grabbed a lot of sky pictures, basically.
Reflection.
Yeah, it was just fabulous that day.
Did you say Tuckahoe Creek?
Come over,
Yeah.
Yeah, I took my, lens I hadn't used, and rarely use it, my 10 to 22, my 10 and 10 to 22, so I got a pretty big. That's a multi-exposure photography. Another multi-exposure, that's the tree where all the birds hang out. That was the, car wash one day, and I sat outside and I looked up under the umbrella, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, so I like, yeah.
That's really cool.
And it doesn't tell any story. It's a pretty big tree, yeah, the sun's coming right through it. I like artifacts.
This I took last year, and mentioned that there are no fall colors yet.
Yeah.
And I haven't been up there, and right at Libby Hill. It's another shot. It was this time last year, like October 22, something like that. The War Museum. War Memorial. Pony Pasture. Again, all around October. Was it last week? At the end of September, I was able to go to Louis Ginter and take the seminar with Tom Hennessy. And I'm glad I did, because I don't know that I'd be able to just go there and, you know, get the guidance, and Tom was there to help me. And it was a great experience. I just had a few shots. We have about a dozen people, 15, something like that, I think.
Yeah, about eight to nine. All signed up, 8 showed up.
It's for the Encanto Sculpture and Art exhibit.
Yeah, they're gonna be gone at the end of October.
Where is this?
Louis Ginter.
Louis Ginter.
If you haven't gone, you should go
Yeah.
and go at night.
And I think this is my last shot. Oh, that's for the photo shoot. For
Oh,
the,
yeah.
creative. I'm like,
Not that one familiar.
Hey, Jim. Good, what's up? Okay.
Mine are kind of going backwards in time. So this was just this past Friday.
All
But
right, okay.
at the
Did you go over there for that?
yeah, we went up to near Swoop, Virginia. And Roger was along there with us. I did a meetup on RPMG there, and there was a couple carloads of us went up there and to photograph the first excursion of the series that they're doing the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I got a few little pictures here from that. The trees are just barely starting to change up there. It's south of Stanton.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous train.
so nice and clean.
I like the guy hanging out the side. And then this is it's actually leaving the station. This is in Stanton, at the depot there in Stanton.
There are a lot of people there.
There was quite a few. There, particularly there at the depot. And there was cars all along any crossing bridges and stuff like that along the route. There was plenty of people. This is from about a week before. And this is up in New York. I was up there. This is at a campground I was in. It was just a foggy morning. A little bit of color in the trees. They're starting to change, but I love the foggy morning. And down in here, a heron flew in and landed on down here in between the ponds there. And then this was in the afternoon. There's the campground near Binghamton, New York. And as my granddaughters, we up at a zoo up there, and you can see there's a little more color in the trees up there.
And they're using a camera, not an iPhone.
Yeah.
Way to go,
Those
Cam.
are actually
Way to go, Cam.
those are actually, well, those are hand-me-downs. I owned both those cameras at one time.
Kent's children and grandchildren have got, all, your son has got what?
The last one that I hand me down to my son was a 5D Mark IV.
Yeah, I actually put myself up for adoption.
This is from last year. That's up near Charlottesville. Chris Green Lake Park. This is from a few years ago. That's just that was up North Point Plantation.
Is that a composite?
No. Really? And I didn't change the sky in that either. That's that was what the sky looked like. And I include, this is in Maymont, but I included this because talking about the kids, all of these kids, this was a high school class. They all have actual real cameras. It's a Henrico County photography class. And I was up there with a group out of Fredericksburg and 2 busloads of high school kids from Henrico County got off there, all of them carrying digital cameras.
Didn't know Henrico had a, I thought it was Thomas Dale that.
Not Henrico, what's her name used to be the teacher there? She was an RPMG.
Amanda,
Yeah.
Yeah, she no longer teaches.
Right.
Yeah, if you ever look at the donate cameras, that's where you want to go.
And this is also Maymont. And these are MJs.
Yeah, this is mine. Oh, this is a few years ago, obviously in Ashland. The fall colors were gorgeous then. This is a reflection on in fall on a church window. And it's getting close to sunset as well. So we've got the fall colors and some sunset.
Thanks.
And then the leaves hanging in the shutters there. This was taken in New Mexico about 5 years ago. And this is on the grounds of a small church in northern New Mexico. And I thought the contrast between the bright colors in the trees and the dark sky was kind of interesting and beautiful. Thank you. This one. I call this in transition because these are leaves that are transitioning from green to the fall colors. And this was taken at Smith Mountain Lake. Again, this is a few years ago. And that's it.
Well, this one's mine. I took that in my backyard. I was out trying to catch the snowflakes. We were having some snow flurries fairly early in the year, a couple of years ago. And Then I looked at it later and I said, well, I got some color in it too.
Winter color.
Yeah. That's a Chris Green Lake also. I was on the same meetup with him that day. Took that picture. That's on the side of the road on Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina. That's a few years ago. It was in October, but the trees hadn't completely turned except those small bushes along the side. That's the street through our neighborhood, main road. And I was just out playing around with my camera a couple of years ago and walked out in the middle of the street, and I thought that was a pretty neat scene. And this is Maymont. This was last year. Had a little color, but it was great. This is a shot of the Mount Rogers Recreation Area in Wythe County. And I was just driving along. I stopped beside the road and took that picture. And this was over at the pollinator garden at Short Plum Park. That was at Tuckahoe Creek. I went out in the morning and trying to see if I could catch anything interesting. This is Tuckahoe Plantation. And that was at Wade's Mill last year.
This is mine. I'm Bruce. This is my first time for photo share. It's when I think of color in the fall, I think about the state fair. So I've got this one and another one of the state fair coming up.
Did you use a tripod for that?
I used a monopod. Yeah. So it's not quite as sharp. I also think about the folk festival, and a cultural color, and obviously she's got a lot of color going on in her hair. I live near the Huguenot Ridge, so I always see the Richmond Marathon, and it comes through in the fall as well. So that's the Huguenot Ridge, and then they circle and go down to Riverside Drive, which is the next shot. This is in Northwest Ohio, where I grew up. A lot of cornfields and wheat fields and soybean fields. This is down near Lombardy and wherever Cuba is. Lombardy and Grove, Lombardy, it's up a little further. Maybe upstairs. I love the ginkgo, the color of the ginkgos when they come out. So I head out there with a tripod and do some nighttime photography. A little bit of intentional camera movement in the fall. Sorry about that. By the way, the music goes well with that one. I think I've got one more intentional camera movement.
Right.
Thank you.
How do you need to see what? I'm good, I'm ready to.
Love the color, the variety of colors. That was just, that's what I saw on the ground.
So you didn't arrange that? It
No,
just happened.
no, I was just looking down, and there it was. These are a couple of shots from Skyline Drive from last year.
Never seen the mountains that.
That's the last one as the sun was setting. Thank you.
Thank you for participating tonight.
And that's all the photos.
I got a question.
I'm a new member, well, not a new member, I'm a guest here, first time in, the room full of talent. I'm a photo photographer, mostly in the post production. And of course, I use digital tools with the again, all over the place. Ruth, I don't know if you got a chance to see what I do or not, but I'm just wondering, most of you are just focused strictly on photography, or you do post or not? I don't know what to tell that. Somebody give me an overview. I've seen more clinical version.
Nancy, there's a lot of.
Everybody does some post,
And
or some
Anita.
of our programs deal with post, and everybody is always, if you have a particular interest in post, we have Lightroom experts, we have book editors, everybody is here to share their information and their skills. Anything in particular you would be interested in?
Oh, no, I have the whole part of the rules.
Well, we want you to join and share.
But like I said, I've seen the photography, and what I also get is sometimes I get pictures from other photographers. And they say, you know, do some magic, you know, maybe crop it differently, or see it differently, or enhance it differently. And so that's what my not so much as a regular photographer, but mostly post production. So that's why I was asking, is this the right group or not?
Well, I'd be personally very much interested in the collection of tools that you guys, you put the process with, and what they do, because there's a lot of them out there, and it's like, okay, you know, which ones do you buy, okay, to do what? And maybe it's something that I want to do. So I really like to see some of your work and which tools you use to produce that. I'm very interested.
Sounds like.
I love that. The answer to your question, just right, is absolutely yes. You know, as photographers, we all understand that pressing the shutter button is not the end of the process. It's just the beginning of the process. I do a lot, and other people here do a lot of artistic processing. Okay, using different programs. I'm even into some local medias, you know, type of stuff. So yeah, I would say this is a good group. You know, we all exchange information. As you can see from this photo share, this is not a content, not a critique. It's just, you know, all of us getting together and sharing our passion with everybody.
And when we have that photo share, someone's free to say, well, how did you do that?
I heard it.
Yeah, and sometimes that leads to a discussion.
Now, the theme I saw going through all these photo shares was basically yeah, we do that. Is there a target for the next? We'll do the next meeting of a topic or theme or whatever.
What's
Or
the
you
theme
just
next month?
randomly do it.
What's the photo share theme next month? What is
We have a theme? We don't have a theme there.
It'll be in the newsletter.
We'll be in the newsletter. We do choose a theme, but it's not necessary to show photos from that theme. We can show anything.
I didn't do anything for the theme.
Yeah, if you're working on something that you find interesting, I think coming back is a good one. And I'm fairly new to this group, but AI is here. Right. And if we don't get in front of it, or don't understand it, or don't use it, we're gonna be left behind. And, you know, it's to the point now where your iPhone, your new iPhone does all that AI work after market processing in the phone. And you never know what person works on it. And that's competition for what we do. And so we need to be much more attuned to that in the post-processing end. I don't know how many people here actually do post-processing. But
if, from what I look at, we are just grazing the top of the pile. Because there is so much out there, so many new programs coming out almost daily. That, is moving photography in a much faster pace and moving on, and we is, whatever we are, we're interested in photography. We need to understand it, one, need to know how to use it, and then make the decision on where it fits in our life.
Well, I think that's a good topic for a future meeting, and who feels confident or comfortable in talking about some of the things they do? Ed does. Anybody?
I'd love to hear,
I love to hear you. I know Anita does a lot of really interesting stuff. I've seen some stuff.
Coordinate that. And also regarding technology, I mean, that's just the way of the world now. You've got to use it or not. But regarding technology, next month's program, another part of the creative process will be the drone. And Harold Lana will be here next month to give, I think he's gonna fly a drone around here.
Who's jumping the drone?
Harold, Fraser, he'll be.
Pardon, are you certified? Well, not, you do commercial work,
Okay, that's how I started, with drone, and then I gravitated to digital.
so I do a lot of drone, I travel. Oh, come next one, no problem.
Yeah, so there's a lot of movement in technology and how we're gonna use it for our own creativity. So next month we'll have Harold, so we're looking forward to that. Bring it home. Bring it home. And December is our social advocacy, I think, our social month, and then business meeting. Speaking with them.
yeah, what's my topic?
You know what it is.
And Costa.
Oh, me.
You.
So, did we establish a theme for next week, or next month?
No, but I'll make one up and send it out to everybody.
Can we extend the color theme since there's no color yet?
Why not?
Yeah, sure. That works.
That works.
Yeah. You can make it holiday colors or something.
Pretty crazy.
Colors.
Colors, period. Make it
Oh, wait.
color 2023. Colors Halloween.
Well, that'll be December, right? Or recap in December. When we show it on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the next challenge is colors. Colors 2023. Anything you want that's colorful. And then you can do anything you want with it. But show off your photo processing skills. And then be ready to explain what the heck you did. And that means, Leo, you have to write notes to yourself.
I got started on this one I did, and I'm the same way, I mean, I worked on it for a month, I did it over and over and over. And then I have one I like, but I can't recreate that at all.
Okay, thank you, we'll see you next month. We need help with the meter.
I like that.